Broadcasting live from the Roswell Infinity Studio, located inside Digital Ignition, where North Atlanta startups take off. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm your host, John Ray, and we've got three great guests talking about two businesses. We've got a married couple. We're going to see if we can get through this show without any problems, but I'm not sure yet because they're both smiling, so we'll see. But I want to introduce Mike and Cara Becker. They're the owners of Fred's Beds, and also Gary Zermuehlen. I got it. Wow. Dale Carnegie Training. But before we get to these three great guests, I want to remind you that Digital Ignition is where we have our home here at North Fulton Business Radio X, and Digital Ignition is the ultimate place for entrepreneurs to work, innovate, learn, establish, and grow their companies. Nestled within a 45,000 square foot building is an open floor plan with co-working office space, dedicated desk, private offices, meeting rooms, event space, a classroom, a fantastic break room with outdoor patio, and all the fresh ground coffee you can drink. If you want great co-working as well as space which impresses investors, customers, and future employees, visit digitalignition.com. Now I want to turn to Mike and Cara Becker. They are the owners of Fred's Beds. Mike and Cara, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, Mike, you were here about 2 years ago, I think.
Sounds about right.
And you must have screwed it up because you brought Cara this time. So she decided you didn't do so well last time.
I have to keep him on a real short leash.
Oh, is that the deal? Okay. So I guess we're going to spend a while correcting whatever you said last time.
Well, I bring in my home run hitter.
Oh, is that the deal? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I wanted the first team last time. So anyway, but I thought that's what I was getting. But anyway, Fred's Beds. Let's talk about Fred's Beds. Tell us about your business.
Well, we sell mattresses and accessories to mattresses, but we've been in business for almost 17 years. We sell overstock, discontinued, slightly scratch and dent, high-end bedding at deeply discounted prices. We, offer a whole range of things as well as delivery and financing, and we're a great one-stop shop to get a bed. Now,
define scratch and dent in the mattress business, because that can sound pretty onerous, right?
That's a great question. Nothing I wouldn't sleep on myself.
Okay.
But sometimes something is dragged through a warehouse, maybe gets a little scuff mark on it, maybe there's a tear in the fabric or a handle is not installed properly, and those don't get sold to the big firms and to the big stores that go to the public, so they come through a wholesaler to us, and we're able to sell them at a really deeply discounted price.
Minor cosmetic flaws.
Cosmetic.
Still really sound great mattresses.
Right. It's not perfect, but it's a perfect sleeping mattress.
Yeah, right. Nothing that would affect the sleeping of the mattress.
Right, exactly. Okay, cool. So you've been in business now 17 years. Mm-hmm. So talk about your philosophy. What's kept you in business for 17 years? Because that's quite a milestone.
Yeah, it's surprising, actually, how fast it's gone. But my background was in the shipping business, and I was a customer service representative in the shipping business. And when I decided to start my own business a few years later, service was the kind of the cornerstone that I wanted to build it on, because I realized that you can get a mattress anywhere. You can get mattress accessories anywhere. And there's a ton of competition. So what will set us apart? As a small business, we can really control the service side of that business. And we make sure that we have the right people in place. And Cara and I, being at the store pretty much all the time, really helps as well to get across the point that, sure, we're selling mattresses, but we're really selling more than that, and it's the service of getting it to people and being friendly with no pressure and just an enjoyable shopping experience, and saving them some money too.
Now, you're a family business, and I guess that's a competitive advantage, but talk about maybe why it is you've been so successful in, as you say, a business where you've got so much competition.
Well, I think it harkens back to what we just said, what I just said about service. We really bend over backwards to make sure that what we sell gets there properly. That again, so what we're dealing with is sometimes slightly blemished product. We make no surprises. We're very upfront about the way we market our products and the way we market our business, and we just want to please our customers, and it shows. And that's been my thing since the beginning.
But we've learned over the years the right balance for us to have together running the business.
True. Yeah.
Oh, unpack that a little, Cara. What do you mean by that?
Well, we used to work together on the same days,
Ah,
and now we've split it up a little.
really?
We're never in the same spot at the same time.
Really?
It's like Superman and Clark Kent.
But you're on the
Superwoman.
same radio show at the same time. So what's going to happen here, right?
This is a rare occasion.
Okay.
This is like a date, actually.
Oh, really? Okay. Y'all were able to get away. Cool. Mike and Cara Becker, they're the owners of Fred's Beds. Now, talk about the ups and downs over 17 years. Lots of challenges. Y'all, I mean, I know one for you two is a growing family. That's got to be one, right? So talk about some of the challenges you've had in your business.
Do you want to talk about the early days?
Well, sure. I started it out in 2002, and I went 12 years without seeing a Saturday college football game, or I missed a lot. By dedicating time to my business, I ran it alone for about 7 years. My mom's started part-time, and then she came full-time in 2005, so she's been on board with us. Cara really got involved in 2012, but I've had a string of employees come through, but I put my sweat equity in, and we were struggling for a while to get it off the ground, but that's what it took, and it actually helped to give us appreciation for where we are now, which is a business that we feel very well established and comfortable and confident in what we do. And it's helped us to be able to give back a little bit. But no, the early years were lean and mean for sure.
But happy.
Oh, very happy.
Always happy.
Cool. Now we've been joking about the two of you working together and how that works. But and we've got a lot of listeners that are business owners, husband and wife, maybe relatives that are in the business together. Talk about, from your perspective, what it's like to work together and be with each other at work and at home and all the time.
Well, we're never with each other at work.
So you just split it up, and that's the way you keep it. That's the way you keep it clean, huh?
That's right, but it is all we talk about at home. So it's very boring for other people to be around us.
The kids get a good dose of it, and it's good. You know, we have a 10-year-old son, an 8-year-old son, and a 2-year-old daughter. And so at dinner time, when we're talking about business and we're talking about what we need to do next, they don't realize the education they're getting in small business ownership. They just sit there and absorb it and go like, "Oh, Dad, did this happen today?" And you go like, "You were paying attention. How nice."
How surprising.
Yeah, but it's
right.
wonderful, though, because they've seen a side of things that possibly a lot of folks don't get to see, which is the true inner workings of a business. We're not just talking about a business. We're talking about what we can do, because everything we do affects it. And so it's fun to see them learning, and they don't even know it. It's osmosis, but our kids are they'll probably be entrepreneurs someday. Cause
We often say that Fred's Beds is our fourth child. And it's 17 years old, and it's acting like a 17-year-old.
Oh, it's a teenager.
It's a teenager now.
Oh, dear.
It doesn't need as much oversight as once it did,
Right.
but it still needs guidance.
Right, for sure.
we don't always know where it is.
Well, that's true for teenagers, that's for sure. I've got an 18-year-old. I know what you're talking about. So talk a little bit about the charities that you support, the community support that you give out there, because I know that y'all have been very active there. I know some of that personally.
Well, we have supported a number of different charities and organizations over the years, but one in particular that we've started working with this year that we're really excited about is called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. They're up in Dawsonville.
Oh, wow.
So we have a deal with them where we're donating 10 mattresses a month. They build bunk beds for needy families. It's to get children off the floor. They say no one sleeps on the floor in our town, and they are nationwide actually. But we've teamed up with the Dawsonville branch, and we're thrilled to be able to help kids sleep. Being a small business, you don't always know the right avenue to give back to your community. And for a while, a lot of people are asking for money and handouts, and we decided a few years back that what we were going to focus on was giving mattresses to get people that needed them off the floor. And so we now give a tangible product, and we donate to places like Jesse's House and the Covenant House, the Drake House, the Boys Lodge in Cumming. And it's nice that after many years in business, the business has given us the ability to give back, because we couldn't be here doing what we do if it wasn't for business. And so we're really so happy to be able to give back to our community.
The community has supported us over the years, and it's nice to be able to, in turn, support folks in the community who need it.
Well, and I know I've called you a couple times about families we know
Sure.
through Backpacks of Love, and you've come through and delivered the mattress, and so that's so I know that firsthand, the work y'all do. So thank you for that.
It's nice to be able to do it. It
Yeah.
really pleases us to be able to help the community for sure.
Truly our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Mike and Cara Becker, they're the owners of Fred's Beds in Cumming. So talk about where your clients come from. I'm curious about that, because you've got a much wider radius of geography that clients come to see you, don't you?
Yeah, our trade area is pretty big. We have folks all the way down in Atlanta who come up to see us. We have folks way up in North Georgia. So really that 400 corridor, concentrated, of course, in Cumming, Dawsonville, and Forsyth County.
And they drive past a lot of chain mattress stores to get to you.
Well, we make it worth their while.
I love it. So talk about your business in terms of where you see it going in the next 5 or 10 years.
Well, so I'll go back a year or two, because we had our own website that we did, and we had our own social media that we thought we were doing a great job with. And a little over a year ago, our website went down, and we didn't even know who to call. We had just been kind of on cruise control with it. And we found a company in Roswell. They're called the Malden Group, and they redesigned our website and have helped us with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And it's such an eye-opener. And our internet presence is so strong now. And we can even, we can now analyze the data of who's looking at our website and who's going to it. And my mind is blown by what we must have been missing by not having that. And so I feel like staying on top of the digital world is our next kind of challenge to maintain. We're old school folks. I mean, I like buying and selling stuff, and but the internet and Facebook and all that is such a tool to use, and we didn't realize it. We just thought we were doing fine, and it's been amazing, and we're so pleased with it. The phone rings off the hook with the new marketing that we've got going. 2 years ago, when I first saw you, Cara was pregnant with our third child, and Cara is our marketing guru. And so with her back in the fold, we're trying a lot of new things, some giveaways and some promotions, and I think it's stirring up new business and creating more awareness that for many years I didn't even know we needed.
A brick-and-mortar mom-and-pop shop is something of a dying breed, and so we have to work hard to make it competitive and to meet our customers' needs and to deliver beyond their expectations when they come in. That's our goal, but we need to find the right ways to reach people so that they know about us, so that we can help them.
Right. So I'm curious about that. So you, as we said, people drive quite a distance to get to your store. They find out about you through social media, your website, what have you. How do you communicate the value that you the values that you offer? I'm not talking about just price. I'm talking about your service. How do you communicate that digitally to get people to make that drive?
Well, I think that's one of the great aspects of social media is that you can make it more personal. And if people dive into Facebook, they see the weekly videos that we do, they see what we're posting, they see what we're doing, and they get a sense for our personality. And that's a really great way to communicate to them how we do business.
Great stuff. Mike and Cara Becker, owners of Fred's Beds. So Talk a little bit more about, you talked about your changes in social media. So where's this industry going? What's going to happen to the business in 5 or 10 years?
Well, I think that's ties in with the social media. I believe that the world is becoming so digitized that we have to make sure that we are keeping up with it. And I do see us needing to possibly sell online. It's a big competitor of ours now, is a lot of these mattress makers that only sell online. And what we are happy about is that still most people want to come try one out before they buy it, making the big purchase. They'll buy maybe a less expensive one off the internet, but I think still most people want to try it out. But we see the shift, and we've noticed the shift. And so just having a presence may not be enough. We may have to be able to sell our products on that platform, and so we're just learning as we go. But I think that's the next frontier for us, is making sure we're on cutting edge of the internet and the digital age, and not being left behind. Like I said, about a year ago, we felt like we were just drowning a little bit, and now we're kind of on top of it and going, hey, this is where we need to keep going, and spending some time and maybe some money to make sure we head in the right direction.
So, folks, you've heard it here. If you need a mattress, you know where to go, Fred's Beds. And with that in mind, tell everybody how they can be in touch if they're interested.
Well, you can check out our website, freds-beds.com. Don't forget the dash. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, of course, you can come up and see us. We're on 400, just south of the Dawsonville outlets.
Now, when you get upset with Mike, do you call him Fred?
I never get upset with my husband.
Oh, that's sweet.
I'm an exemplary employee.
I love it. Mike and Cara Becker, owners of Fred's Beds. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
So, folks, if you need help curing the headaches of administrative task, bookkeeping, marketing, presentations, and more, and sleeping on a great mattress from Fred's Beds doesn't cure those headaches, you need to engage a smart and reliable office angel. Not a temp agency or placement firm, Office Angels matches your business support needs with angels who have the talent and experience necessary to help you maintain and grow your business on an ongoing or as-needed basis. Your terms, your timeline. We lend a hand when needed, and then fly off when that job is done. If you find out more at officeangels.us or call Chief Executive Angel, S.C. Escobedo, at 770-442-9246. Essie will take care of you. Now we turn to Gary Zermuehlen, and Gary is with Dale Carnegie Training. Gary, did I get that right?
You got it right.
I love it.
You got it right.
Yeah, a guy named Ray does not get long names too often, so thanks for schooling me on that.
My daughters are looking to marry a man that has a name like yours. They're real easy to say and spell.
Right, I hear you. So Dale Carnegie Training, everybody knows the name, or most people do. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about what Dale Carnegie Training is all about.
Sure, I'm happy to do it. Well, essentially, we are a worldwide training organization where we help people essentially take command of their jobs and change their lives. So more or less, our training is help giving people skills in communication, leadership skills, essentially being able to work with people, to work with teams really well. We've been doing it for about 105 years, so we've been doing it for a while. And we're really based off the book that Dale Carnegie wrote, I think around 1936, called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that book is more or less comes to life during our actual training. And in that book is principles, essentially 30 of them, that if we apply those, we will make a very big difference in the workplace and even in our personal home life as well.
So, Gary, let's get into that book. There's a lot of young folks that they don't know Dale Carnegie from Adam's House Cat, right?
Sure.
So talk maybe for folks that have not heard of the book, and maybe folks that have read it a long time ago and have forgotten some of those principles that you want to highlight.
More than likely, a lot of people probably have the book on their shelves somewhere.
Sure.
Over 30 million copies have been published over the years. It's one of the most read books of all time, next to the Bible. It's one of the top 10 most published books. It was the first self-help book of its time. Now, of course, there's thousands of books that we hear about and see in the libraries and so forth. But he was really one of the first, and most books after that are kind of a derivative of that book. But what it is, it's based on principles that he had came up against. And when he was first starting out, people were saying, we need a book to help us. We're leaders. We want to know how to keep our people engaged. Where's a book that you would recommend? And he said he couldn't find one. So he started to write it himself. And he must have I read hundreds of psychology books, and most of those with the long nomenclature, the long names, it was too much. He said, can I do this in a way that's simple and easy to understand? And that's how he wrote the book. It's mainly through stories. And again, it was 1936, so
Sure.
A lot of these stories will be industrialists of that time. It could be the Vanderbilts and so forth, and people look at that going, well, isn't this a little bit old, or is it still relative? But what's interesting is just as relative today, if not more so, than it was back then.
So tell us a little bit about the training and development that you do. I think people hear that and they think time, money, getting out of my comfort zone.
Yep.
I'm not ready to sign up for that.
Yep. Yeah, it's absolutely the truth, because these are the most valuable things we have is
Sure.
our time and our money. So that's not easy to let that go. But I think what's even harder for people, what I have seen, is getting out of their comfort zone. We spend most of our lives trying to be more comfortable. If it's in the bed that we're sleeping in, or if it's the money that we're trying to put away for the rainy day, we're spending most of our time trying to be more comfortable. So getting out of our comfort zone in that training is difficult. But what happens is, unless you do that, you're not going to learn, you're not going to grow, you're not going to be able to better yourself or even break through a glass ceiling. So that's what we have to do to be able to get the results that we want.
So when people come to you, what are some of the problems that you help them solve?
Yeah. I try to attend every graduation that I can, and each person gets to speak for about 2 or 3 minutes in that graduation, and they get to talk about how that class has impacted them. And it's interesting, no two people get the same impact or change or transformation in their life. It's different for everybody. But the two that I see more consistently than any other, I would say, would be confidence and dealing with stress and worry. Confidence is one that if we can't lead unless we're confident, and people can sense it, they can see it, and you got to have that. And we provide some of that confidence. But I think what's interesting was the stress and worry. A lot of people didn't realize how that was impacting them so negatively. And we liberate them because we tell them, we can't make the stress go away. We have it all the time.
Sure.
But we can give you skills and tools so that you can be able to deal with it, that it's a choice, that we can choose to say, I don't want stress and worry in my life. And then, of course, the next question is how? And that's where we come in, and we provide them those skills and tools so that they're able to get that under control, and they walk out of that classroom like 100 pounds lighter than they did when they came in.
Gary Zermuehlen. Gary is with Dale Carnegie Training. Got to ask the question, there's a lot of training,
Sure.
leadership training, leadership development, sales training.
Absolutely.
Why Dale Carnegie as opposed to all the other ones that are out there?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say that we shouldn't be the end-all for training. I always tell people you should get training from other businesses and organizations. You'll learn things from them that you might not learn from us. But what makes us unique and which makes us different is that we have this foundation, or we know what the foundation is to be successful. And that is building relationships with people. That's building rapport and trust. And if you don't have those things, you will go nowhere. You can do all the other things. You can have all the skills and abilities. You can read all the books that you want. But unless you have that foundation, you're not going to be successful. And that's really our strength, is we really know how to do that. We know how to teach people to have that. And more importantly, we give them the benefit for doing it. And when they see that and they experience the benefit by building those relationships with these people, then they got it for life. Then we got sustainment.
So I'm curious whether we were talking about teenagers earlier. So adults, teenagers, can you go down into the younger set
Sure.
and get them started right?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've noticed, we have people of all ages take our courses, and some are 50s, 60s. And they walk out sometimes a little bit dejected, a little bit upset. And I said, what's wrong? Is it the course? Is it the facilitator? He goes, oh, no. The class is wonderful. He says, I just wish I would have had this at the beginning of my career.
Oh, wow.
And not the end.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit upsetting to some people. So we started thinking, what is a way that we could get people even younger to start using our principles and our training to have an even larger impact on their lives? So we started a course with Dale Carnegie did called Generation Next, and it's for teenagers. So it's essentially the Dale Carnegie course for adults. It's that same content, but it's oriented toward teenagers, their challenges, their problems, their issues. And it's just a fabulous course where they get to have these principles, practice them, and then go out there in college and use them, and then into their career and use them. But I can tell you this right now, they're going to have a leg up over all those other kids that the other kids will never be able to even hold a candle to.
That's great. Now, big problems out there around employee engagement.
Yep.
It's very low.
Yep.
A lot of folks are disenchanted with corporate America. How do you help in that regard?
Yeah, it's a statistic that kind of shocks me. Only 29% of the employees out there are engaged. And that's large companies, small companies. It's a little bit higher engagement if it's a smaller company, but it's 29%. That means we got 45% of the people out there that are more or less disengaged. They're kind of get there to get the paycheck, if you will. But even more concerning to me is that we got 26% of the people who are out there that are not only disengaged, but they're trying to undermine you. They're trying to sabotage your company. They're trying to get people over to their camp. So knowing those statistics, we have to look at that seriously. And it's training and development that helps with that. It's awareness. It's investing in them. It takes some work, but it is a concern, and we have to battle it every single day, because if they're not engaged, the performance is not there. And if the performance is not there, well, that's the success of your business.
So, Gary, for those that are interested in working with you, how does that happen? I mean, do you work with groups, individuals? How do people engage with you?
Very good question. We do have individuals. We have people, they all have one thing in common. They're ambitious people who take our course that want to accelerate their careers or their goals that they want to meet. You can go to any one of our courses. They all have that thing in common. With training, I mean, we can teach a lot of ourselves these things on our own, but it could take us 5 years, 10 years. The people who are in our course, they want that to happen now. They want it to go on right now. So sometimes it's individuals that take the course. They're putting up their own money, their own time to take it. We also have corporations that do it as well. They'll send their people who are on pathways. They have their high potentials, and they want them to have a leadership position, and they know it's hard to unshoot yourself out of your foot. So they want them to go in there starting using principles and human relations skills so they keep their teams engaged, that they keep the retention high. So we do have people who put them through those pathways that are public courses that we offer at Ashford Dunwoody Road there here in Atlanta. But sometimes we'll go in there as what we call in-house training. If your culture is sick, putting one person here, putting one person there, we'll get there, we'll get that culture turned around, but it could take years. But if we can have the whole team come in, we can kind of do a shock to the system, if you will, and get that culture turned around immediately. So sometimes we go in there and do a complete group of people at that organization, at their location.
Gary Zermuehlen with Dale Carnegie Training. Folks, he says you can call him Gary Z.
That's the easiest one.
I love it. So for those that want more information, how do they be in touch?
Yeah, they can always go to our website. It's dalecarnegie.com. You can also link onto our Atlanta website from there. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, we're on all those as well. But we welcome them to reach out. I'm happy to have a cup of coffee with them. Coffee on me, can't go wrong with that, and share a little bit about how we work.
But they're able to find you on that website.
Absolutely.
Okay. Maybe you want to give your email?
Absolutely. Well,
or phone number?
Phone number, too. My phone number, you can call me anytime they want, 770-289-1992. Or Gary Zermuehlen at dalecarnegie.com.
I love it. And all this will be in the show notes, folks. Gary Zermuehlen, Dale Carnegie Training. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. People always told me I had a great face for radio, so I'm glad to be here.
You just proved it, huh? Okay, great. Thanks, Gary. Folks, I want to remind you that we have got a great archive of shows, and if you go to our website, northfulton.businessradiox.com, click the archives button, you'll go see a whole panoply of shows. You can go back and see the show where Mike Becker screwed it up originally, and Cara had to come on today and correct everything. You can hear a wide variety of great guests. So check us out there, and check us out on our social media, North Fulton BRX. NorthFulton.BRX. North Fulton BRX. Mike's looking at me like, if you don't know, I don't know, right? I love it. Yeah, Mike's like, you better clean up your social media, buddy. Anyway, now this has been a great show with Mike and Cara Becker, Fred Spence, and Gary Zermuehlen, Dale Carnegie Training. Folks, that's it. I'm John Ray, your host. Join us next time for another edition of North Fulton Business Radio.